In this Blender video, I'll be demonstrating how to make these wine glasses that you see here. I'll be using Blender version 2.62 with the Cycles render engine. Some of the older Blender versions don't have the Cycles render engine, so if your Blender version does not have it, then you can download the latest version of Blender at blender.org. To check whether or not you have the Cycles render engine, just click on this drop-down list right here. If you see Cycles render, then you're ready to go. We are going to start by going to the File menu and select New. And then on this button right here, make sure that Default is selected. And on this drop-down menu right here, make sure that you have Cycles render selected. The default new project starts with a cube. We also have a light source right here, which I'm not going to be using. And then we also have a camera over here. Each of these items I can select by right-clicking on them. I can also rotate my view by holding down the middle mouse button and then moving the mouse around. And now with the cube selected, I'm going to hit the delete key and then confirm that I want to delete this cube. And then I'm going to go up to the Add menu and select Mesh and Cylinder. And then I want to get a front view of this cylinder. So I'm going to press the number 1 on the number pad. And in Blender, there is a difference between the numbers that are above the letters on the keyboard and the number pad that's off to the right. The number 1 that I just pressed is from the numbers keypad. Now I can zoom in on the cylinder by using my mouse wheel. I'm currently viewing this cylinder in perspective mode, but if I hit the number 5 on the number pad, then that allows me to view this in orthogonal view. I'm going to use the wheel on my mouse again and zoom this in a little bit further. And if I hold down the Shift key while I press the middle mouse button, this also lets me pan around this view. The next thing I'm going to do is go down to this drop-down menu here and select Wireframe. And then I'm going to go to this drop-down menu and select Edit Mode. And then next I'm going to hit Control R. Control R is the Subdivide Loops command. And then with my mouse in the middle of the object, I'm going to use my scroll wheel and scroll it a little bit until I get 3 of these horizontal lines. And after I get my 3 horizontal lines, I'm going to press the left mouse button. As you can see here, some of these lines and vertices are highlighted with orange, and some of them are black. The ones that are highlighted in orange are selected. I can use the A key, which will unselect everything, and I can also press the A key again, which will select everything. So I'm going to press the A key and deselect everything, and then I'm going to press the B key, and then I'm going to go up to the top here, and I'll press and hold the left mouse button, and I'll drag this over here to the right, and then release the left mouse button, because I wanted to select all the vertices up on the top here. And then next I'm going to press the S key, which allows me to scale. And then I just move the mouse to scale these points here. And it may be hard to see, but in the background there's a grid. And so I'm going to scale these vertices right here and bring them in by 1 grid point on the left and the right. And then click the left mouse button. And then I'll hit the A key again to deselect everything. And then I'll press the B key, and then just like before, I can press and hold the left mouse button, and I'll drag around these vertices, and I'll press the S key again to scale. And this time, looking at the background grid again, I'm going to increase the size by 1 grid division. And then I'll press A again to deselect everything, and then I'll press B, and again I'll hold down the left mouse button and drag. Then I'll press the S key again to scale, and I'll increase the size of this by about a half a grid division, and then press the left mouse button. Then I'll press the A again to deselect everything, and then press B, and I'll select these vertices here, and I press S again to scale, and this time I'm going to decrease the size of these by 3 grid points on each side. And then I'll press A again to deselect, and then I'll press B again, and I'll select these points and press S to scale, and this time I'm going to set this for a width of 4 of these grid points. And now if I press and hold the middle mouse button, I can rotate this object, and on the very top here I'm going to right click on this center point to select it, and then I'm going to hit the delete key and I'm going to select vertices. And now if I rotate this using the middle mouse button, I can see that I have a hollow object. Then next I'm going to return to my front view by pressing 1 on the number pad, and then I'll press A so that I can select everything. And then I'm going to press the key E so I can do an extrude, but I don't want to move it at all. So without moving the mouse, just press the left mouse button and that will lock this into place. And then press the S key. Then now I can scale this entire extrusion that I just made. And what I'm doing now is I'm adjusting the inside of my object here. And this will be the thickness of my wine glass. So I'm going to set it to about 1/2 of a grid division. And then I press the left mouse button to lock it in place. And now I'm going to scroll the mouse wheel so I can zoom out a little bit. Then I'll press and hold the shift key while I press and hold the middle mouse button and drag this whole thing up. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit more using the scroll wheel. And then I'll hit A to deselect everything. And then I'll press B. And then what I want to do now is select only these very bottom vertices. And then I'll press E to extrude. I'm going to pull these down by 2 of the grid markers, then press the left mouse button, and then I'll press S to scale these, and I'm going to shrink them, and it's probably hard to see, but I'm going to shrink these to be 2 grid divisions wide. And press the left mouse button, and then I'll press E again to extrude, and I'm going to pull these down. Then right here is a major grid line, and I'm going to go up 3 minor grid lines from that, and press the left mouse button. And I'll use the scroll wheel again here to zoom in a little bit, and then Shift plus the middle mouse button to pan up. And then I'll press E again to extrude, and I'll pull this down by 1 grid division, press the left mouse button, and then S to scale, and I'm going to increase the width by 2 grid divisions, and press the left mouse button. Then I'll press E to extrude again, and I'll go down 1 grid division, and then I'll press S to scale, and I'll increase this by 5 grid divisions on each side, and then press E to extrude again, and bring this down 1 division, and press the left mouse button. And now I'm finished with the basic shape. So I'll go to this menu item now, and select Solid, and then I'll go to this menu and select Object Mode. And now I'll use the mouse wheel to zoom out a little bit, and then Shift plus the middle mouse button to pan this down. Then the next thing I'm going to do is over here on the left, I'm going to press the Smooth button. Then over here on the right I have some more tools, and I'm just going to expand this a little bit, and I'm going to click on this wrench right here, which is the object modifiers, and then I'll click on Add Modifier and Subdivision Surface, and this will allow me to add extra smoothing, and I'm going to set this to 3 for both views and render, and the higher this number is, the more smoothing you will get, but the longer it will take to render it. And next I'm going to choose a material for our wine glass, and that will be this button right here, and I will select New, and then for the surface I'm going to click on this drop down menu, and I'm going to select Glass.